and a little back in Bosnia. Be careful before you share your pictures, your gossip and your personality with the cyber world, because you can never really retrieve them. That's the warning from the chief executive of Google, a company that has done more than most to promote information sharing and for whom YouTube is a massive hit. As for social media, it might be fun to share your wild party pictures when you're 20. When you're going for that big job in 10 years' time, do you really want them out there? Google's boss thinks we may be forced to change our names and our identity to escape our cyber past. So we sent Stephen Smith to do just that, though in his case, he had to make his life more exciting. His report contains flash photography and some very poor jokes.
Like most people who work for the BBC, I joined for the copper-bottomed pension scheme. But a little recognition wouldn't go amiss.
Sorry, excuse me, are you Stephen Smith?
Well, yes, I am, actually.
Oh,
Maybe you've seen my...
Oh, no, sorry, you just dropped this?
Oh, my pass.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
It's very kind of you. Michael Crick. He's just got profile to burn. I'm waiting to see someone who says he can boost my image.
Simon?
Close enough. Oh, you must be David.
Yes.
Hello, David.
Hello.
Thank you very much for coming.
A pleasure.
Got you a cup of tea.
Thank you.
The thing is, David, well, you've probably seen me on TV, right?
That Dormer Windows advert, yes.
Well, that wasn't actually me, but yeah. I mean, I do some stuff for NewsNight. It's kind of public service and public spirited, but I just feel that I'm not getting a big enough profile. I gather you can help me with that. Is that right?
Well, online's everything. You know, if you're not online, well, you hardly... In fact, most people don't exist. So, yes, you've got to do it online. And we can do lots of things. I mean, basically, what you want to do is you want to get yourself a better Google ranking. You want to be in all the social media. We need good content.
I mean, to be honest, I've always fancied, you know, being or seeming to be a bit of an international playboy.
Right,
we laugh
yeah.
now.
Okay.
You know, but they laughed at Lionel Blair. He's done okay.
True.
I'm getting some high-quality photos taken for my relaunch. I can't wait to see the results. I've had to take my image seriously, since a warning about people putting all their information online from, of all people, the boss of Google, Eric Schmidt, went on.
I don't believe society understands what happens when everything is available, knowable, and recorded by everyone all the time. We really have to think about these things as a society.
People do sometimes say that they have got nothing to fear, nothing to hide, why should they worry about it? But actually everybody has rather not catch up with them later. And this can be shown quite clearly by flashing someone a photograph of when they were young, and they're embarrassed and they blush and they say, oh, put it away. You know, it's the standard of every single wedding speech. This will be played to us all the time if all this stuff hangs around online.
Say when? Back at my photo session, they say the camera never lies. But what about the internet? Can some gingered up pics help to give you a new image online? It's good to see you again after what? How many hours? Only about 5 hours. What have you managed to do?
A completely new image. We've got photographs of you with lots and lots of glamorous people in some very interesting places.
All codded up, though, we should say.
Well, yes.
What does this process tell us about how easy or difficult it is to reinvent yourself online, or indeed disappear?
It is very, very hard to create a new image. Very, very difficult. It's going to get
because you can't escape the old one.
You can't escape the old one.
Do you think this will bring me some friends?
Well, no.
Oh. You could break it to me a bit more gently than that.
Well,
no friends at all.
They'd very quickly see through all this.
So, much as I might try and live the embarrassing stuff down, I may never be seen quite like this.
Steve Smith. Well, I'm joined in the studio by Sarah Blow, founder of the social network Girly Geekdom, and from Seattle by Andrew Keane, author of The Cult of the Amateur. Good evening, Andrew. First of all, you are actually speaking at Seattle Geek Week on the whole question of public and private identity this week. Do you think that we are ending the time when we can actually have an inner and an outer life?
Well, I'm worried that we are entering a time where the inner life is getting lost. Everyone in Silicon Valley and indeed in Seattle this week is proclaiming the end of privacy. Now, if that's something we want, I'm not sure what the future of humanity is. All we do is live externally. If all we do is turn ourselves into Stephen Smith and keep on reinventing ourselves, I'm very worried about it. That's why I'm writing a book about it.
Do you that what happens is that you are defined, or we define ourselves very much by our public life and not our private life?
Right, we're entering what people in Silicon Valley are calling the reputation economy. Everything is defined by our identity online. The private then becomes irrelevant, becomes shriveled. And there are thinkers out here, guys like Jeff Jarvis, who proclaims the age of publicness, where privacy is finished, where it's all over, where we no longer have any secrets, and actually people are celebrating the end of secrecy, which is very terrifying.
Well, we have obviously 600 million social networking who presumably proclaim the end of their privacy, at least for now. But the problem is, do you think they're aware, Sarah, that they might actually not get that privacy back?
I don't think everyone is aware. I don't think everyone actually uses the privacy tools and settings that they have available online at the moment. And I don't think necessarily that they're educated in the right way to be able to understand where those tools are and how they're supposed to be used.
Because do you think people actually understand that when the material is out there, they may think it's restricted, but actually it's beamed off into many, many other areas from which it is very hard to retrieve it?
It can be very hard to retrieve the information, but if you know the right approach, you can actually have most data taken down. You have to follow the right path to be able to do so.
What do you feel, though, about, it seems to me there's this thing called creeping on Facebook, where you actually look at other people's Facebooks, that actually you live their lives vicariously. Is that not rather a kind of sick way of getting your friendships?
I don't see many people doing that, and I don't think that it's the norm, so to speak. I think people do that if they're trying to make connections with people they don't necessarily know directly. They usually have a purpose behind it and a reason for doing so. And so long as you can understand why they're doing it and be able to verify who they are and what they're trying to do prior to actually saying yes to that, i.e. you have a conversation and decide at that point whether to actually friend them or not.
But maybe, Andrew, we are entering, in the 21st century, a period where we will only have one identity, and that's an identity that's there for all the world to see, albeit an edited one. And that is maybe a healthier thing than having perhaps multiple identities or multiple faces that you show the world.
Well, you always like this, Kirsty? I mean, I think the reality is that we don't have one identity. I certainly don't. I behave very differently in private when I'm in Seattle or when I'm on NewsHour. Mark Zuckerberg, the head of Facebook, made it very clear, and this is what's so chilling. He said, you only have one identity. And that's wrong. He wants everyone only to have one identity so he can profit from his social network, which now has 500 million and quickly going up to 1 billion members. But we're not, in reality, as human beings, we have many different identities, which is revealed in many different ways. And if we are to fall, I think, into this delusion of having a single identity, we'll be much poorer as a human race and in terms of our individuality as well. And in fact, if anything, I think that will create more taboos, more secrecy, and more screwed up lives.
Do you care, Sarah, if perhaps in the end you only have one identity?
To be honest, I have one identity, and that is me. I am a person, I am an individual. What I choose to do online is a persona, not an identity to me. An identity and a persona to me are very different. So you can create a persona around a particular subject, and therefore you become the subject matter expert in that area.
So it is all contrived?
Yeah. To me, it's not a case of identity being used in the right way.
So tell me, how many different persona do you show on social networking?
It depends. I mean, I've got Facebook, obviously, which I use for personal and professional because I have a company that's relating to social media. On LinkedIn, it's generally for business contacts. I don't tend to use it for personal contacts. Twitter, I use on a general basis. It's more how I am and what I'm talking about at the time, and it's very transient.
And if there were more, as there will be, you just go for it as well. You'd have as many multiple.
I don't use everything. I've never had a Bebo account. I've never had some of those other ones, and I don't choose to go on everything. I find things that are useful to me.
Thank you all both very much indeed.